Hey everyone, Nito King here, bringing you another episode of Space Quest 3, pretty much just to spite you. But we do need to get farther in the game. Last time we finally managed to get into the Aluminum Mallard, but it doesn't have enough power to run, so we're going to have to go find a power source, and we're not going to find one standing in the ship. Now, last time I fell off the ship, but you can quite safely slide down the windshield. I kind of wonder if it's called a windshield when you're talking about a spaceship, since there's no wind in space to speak of. But I'm going to need to take the ladder with me, and if you notice, that actually cost me 5 points. They had a really clever take on the score in this game. If you perform an action that can be repeated, and then undo it, they just take the points away and then give them back to you when you do it again. Quick cut to the entrance to that underground room. Just pop back down there briefly. This is another thing that I think most people do their first time through the game just because it's more convenient, but how would you know? You may notice the lights are on in this room, and where there's lights, there's got to be power. They've even got wires leading to power. So let's see just where those wires go. Let's spell wires correctly. Hold to the left. Hopefully that doesn't lead into another room, because I have no idea how I'd get there. Ah, excellent. The reactor's right there. Roger! Get the reactor! And interestingly enough, the lights go out when you grab the reactor, so they sort of had dynamic lighting effects even way back then. Kinda cool, really. I don't know, that thing in the middle of the room kinda looks like a plane to me, but I guess it isn't. You're so picky about the placement. Alright, just gotta remember to pull the ladder up after me. Now, last video I said that you could get the ladder if you knew that it was there ahead of time. Well, I went back and it turns out that you actually can't. There was that metal plate covering the opening so that you couldn't see the ladder. And until you come at it from below and push the plate out of the way, you can't actually get it. And I couldn't figure out how to get him to move the plate either. So, you do have to ride down the conveyor belt, slide down the garbage. He took 20 points away! Well, us gaming veterans know what a less bulky feeling means. Check my inventory. And he took the reactor. And he also took the wire that I got way back in the first video. So we gotta go find him. At least we know where the rat's nest is, because we saw them hovering over us in that underground room. And of course, it's worth pointing out that if you didn't take the wire off the wall, then they just leave it there and take only the reactor. You can go recover the reactor, and then grab the wire. So back down again, costing us another 10 points, as we put the ladder back to where it was, and yep, the lights are back on. Those freaking rats just moved something 3 screens away. And if you notice, because I had the wire before, there's now an unconnected wire in the hole along with the reactor. That's the entire reason that I got it in the first video. And now we get out of here yet again. You know, that joke was funny the first time, but I'm kind of starting to get tired of it. Anyway, once you've dealt with the rats, they don't mug you again, so you can safely return to the Aluminum Mallard. Do the quick 4-point inspection by walking all the way around the ship. There are a number of different things you can say in most of these places to put the ladder where you need it. Alright, finally, let's put that reactor in place. And this is where you find out that you need an extra length of wire, if you didn't already take one. You can put the wire in the hole first, and then install the reactor, but you wouldn't know to do that the first time through. There we go. Our ship should be powered up. Let's take a look at the diagnostics again. Alright, power level nominal. We're well on our way. Landing gear not crushed by debris. That's good. And the warp motivator not installed. Perfect. Well, I'm sure we don't need a warp motivator. I mean, who wants to warp? There we go. Now we've got, well, the only thing that seems to be working right now is the radar. If I hit the engines button, it won't even start. So I guess we gotta go get a warp motivator. But we're making progress. We're powered up. Now, if I remember correctly, there was a warp motivator sitting right next to the escape pod in the first room. I didn't pay too much attention because I couldn't find any way to move it. But let's go check it out now. There's got to be some way we can move this thing. So we can't manually relocate it. Fortunately, there is another device in this area that's used to move things around. Before, I kinda glossed over it. No, I'm not talking about the bucket conveyor, although that is where we're headed. It goes slow even when it's sped up. Alright, been here, done this. Interestingly enough, this game is not located in the same no jumping zone as the first two. I also wanted to show you what happens if you walk in this direction along the rail. We saw that walking to the left didn't provide anything entertaining, but this way is a bit different. I did say a bit different. Alright, so forgetting about that, let's move on, and I'll just speed things up here. With the game up to maximum walking speed, and this is as fast as you can ever go, so... Nothing like the original fastest, you hit left and you're 10 screens away and fell into a pond and drowned or something. Yeah, remember the grabber? I hit the claw button while I was in this screen and it didn't do anything. But what you need to do is correlate those screens of rails that you're walking on before with the locations down on the ground. And if you do that, you'll realize that this is where the warp motivator is. And again, most people do this the first time they come up onto the grabber, simply because this is the most convenient time. And what else are you going to do with a grabber but grab a warp motivator? And there we go. Successfully hauled in. And yeah, that beeping is going to persist, because the fastest way to get from each point on the track to the next point you need to go to is in reverse. But for some reason the noise of the conveyor belt here actually drowns out the beeping. Also, this screen is not above any ground level screen, the southern part of the rail, and the northern part is above the tunnel. So you notice those pipes running along the bottom of the screen there. You can't activate the claw while you're above them. It's basically just convenience, but prevents you from putting the grabber somewhere you shouldn't. And there we go. The warp motivator is installed in the ship just that simply. That's the joy of modular plugs. And I think this was long before they had equipment like that for computers. I guess they had, serial and PS2 style ports, but none of these plug-and-play drivers or anything like that. And I'll go ahead and speed this part up too. Don't know why I didn't do that earlier. Hey, guess what? This isn't the perfect LP. Oh, I should just stop now. It's horrible. Now all we gotta do is head back to the ship. Kinda dark in here now that we've turned out the lights. Of course, something feels missing. Oh yeah, I left my ladder at the ship, didn't I? There it is. Tricky little thing. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go back out the way I came. Assuming that I can actually get back up the chute and, maybe ride the conveyor bucket back down by standing on the back of it or something. Alright, guess I'm not getting out that way. What else is there to... At least I guess I don't have to worry about getting out. Yeah, that's a game over screen you kind of have to work to get. So let's just restore into an alternate universe where I did remember to bring the ladder with me. You notice I've got 5 fewer points because I grabbed it from the ship on the way. And that's the last time I'll ever have to worry about that joke. So with a warp motivator properly in place, let's go see if our ship is at last spaceworthy. Kind of a shame, I'm gonna miss this music. Can't pull the ladder up with me, which is a shame because it would be very useful later. Instead, it's just gonna sit there next to the ship and be left behind. Alright, so let's take another look at the diagnostics. Alright, power level's still nominal. We haven't drained our reactor yet. Alright! I would almost say it's in ship shape. Alright, and we can now turn on our engines. And take off. Taking off indoors was a bad idea. Very helpful death message, though. And in fact, it tells us exactly what we need to do. This time I need to turn on the radar before taking off. And in fact, you can safely leave the radar on for the rest of the game, as far as I know. So our ascent has been halted due to the obstruction. We didn't crash into anything. And now we don't have a lot of options left. We can land, which wouldn't do us much good, or use the weapons system. You know where my money is. So this is our weapons bank, and it's interesting that we even have weapons. The help message here gives you a little bit of information on how to use the fighting capabilities of the ship. Wonder if that's going to be important later. But the most important thing is that we fire with the spacebar. And off we go! Oh. So that obviously wasn't the right way to do it. Alright, so what if I just turn the engines off at this point? It takes a surprisingly long time to fall. Yeah, I had my radar on. It's not my fault if the ship couldn't stay up without the engines on. Alright, maybe it is my fault. But if you've been paying attention, the solution to this puzzle should be fairly simple. Yeah, I know I put this takeoff bit in the video a bunch of times, but it's so dramatic. All we need to do is turn on one of the shields before firing at the ship. Front or back doesn't matter, as long as the shield is up, we're safe. Now here we are, out in deep space. All I can figure is that here it's taking space as a synonym for stars. But not a whole lot of interest out there. We can stand up while the ship is moving. And there's no death message for attempting to leave the ship. Kind of a shame, but I guess it makes sense. And again, that's not the only way to leave the ship. Won't let us do that either. So I think I'm going to end it here. Next time, we're actually going to travel somewhere in our own ship. Woohoo! See you guys then.